Hi, everyone. Welcome to IAB There, our weekly live stream in which we connect the digital advertising ecosystem. I'm Eric John, Vice President of IAB's Media Center. In today's session, entitled The Evolution of Ad Creativity and Thinking Beyond the 30-Second Spot, we'll be discussing how to make CTV viewing a better experience, how to enable storytelling in this streaming medium that combines the power of digital with big screen, sight, sound, and motion. We're excited to welcome to the show Rachel Helfman. She's Director, Head of Creative Solutions at Roku. She joined Roku in last year, February, to launch the Roku brand studio, where she oversees the creative ad solutions team, a group of strategists that are leveraging viewer insights to develop high-impact campaigns designed to redefine and shine a light on the future first of streaming marketing. Previously, Rachel was at Snapchat, where she developed and evangelized ad products, including their augmented reality ad experiences. So Rachel, let's start. Tell us a little bit about more your role at Roku. What brought you from the world of marketing in your pocket to marketing on the big screen that CTV and all the promise that CTV brings?
Great question. Well, it's really hard to follow that intro that you gave me, because I feel like, you just painted the best picture of me. So no, but in all reality, why did I decide to come to Roku versus staying in social or focusing more on mobile? So for me, I see streaming as the brains of digital, but the beauty of linear. And from a creative standpoint, it's so exciting that we have the largest creative canvas in the household to do something cool on. And when I was at Snap, of course, it was exciting for, augmented reality and vertical video, but I like to take my career where I believe the industry is going. And I believe all TV is going to be streamed. And so when I thought about coming to Roku to help launch the Roku brand studio, I thought there's no better time than now, because in a few years, all TV is going to be streamed, and we're not going to be sitting here talking about what's streaming versus what's linear and back and forth.
Yeah. So Rachel, harking back to the title of this session, what does thinking beyond the 30-second spot mean to you and the team at Roku?
I believe going beyond the 30-second spot is going to challenge our partners to get a little creative. And what I mean by that is the beauty of streaming is that we have the opportunity to be truly flexible in terms of creative. And we should start thinking about that 30-second ad pod with branded content or with custom content that thematically aligns with what the streamer is watching. Why not create a custom commercial that is aligned with a Roku original? Or why not use sequential messaging to tell a story in an ad pod? We really can start thinking about storytelling in ad pods versus just running a traditional linear spot.
Yeah. We've been in an era of the hero spot for so long, right?
Oh, yeah.
Literally $1 million execution. Is that the strategy? We see it all the time. And the Super Bowl is probably, the magnified example of that. But what is that a strategy? How are you counseling your brands and buyers to tell a great story, but also to think about the medium?
Great question. I think that there will be cases, i.e. the Super Bowl, where everyone is tuned in to see what commercials are running. Of course, that's like award season for commercials, right? And you want to see what the creative is going to be, who's going to tell the best brand story, what celebrities are in the spot. But for the 98% other of the time that streamers are watching, I believe there's effective ways to get a message out there without spending $1 million on a hero spot. I actually have seen, whether it's on mobile and social, whether it's on the TV screen and streaming, the most effective way to resonate with a consumer is to have that creative thematically aligned to whatever they're watching. As a streamer myself, sometimes it's hard for me to watch a show and the creative to be so jarring or so disconnected from the content I'm watching. So in response to your question, what I would encourage advertisers is to let's flip the model on its head. Let's start thinking about where you're running media and then back into the creative approach for each versus just spending a majority of budget on one 30-second spot.
Yeah. Yeah, something that struck me not only at the Super Bowl, but even we're recording this right after the Oscars. It's just really amazing to see an ad format that we remember from years ago, the QR code, suddenly seeing a resurgence. And so for folks that may not know, it's literally, a scan what's on your screen, pull up your phone and either interact with content or even transact from that code. Is this a trend we're going to continue to see? Is it a way to make it feels like a direct to consumer call to action? Are we going to see more of that?
Well, there's a lot to talk about the Oscars last night,
Yes,
but we can
there
save
was.
we can save that. We can save that for a separate session. That could be a whole nother hour. But anyways, about the QR code, it's definitely making a comeback. I mean, I remember when we used to see the QR code just on shelves and displays in stores, and now we're seeing it all over the screen. And for a QR code, I think it's a great way for the consumer to connect an omni-screen experience. And so, for example, for streaming, we have an ad unit called Stream and Style, where a streamer can use a carousel to flip through products to learn more, and then take out their mobile device to scan a QR code to actually be brought to, let's just say, that retailer's destination. Or, I believe going back to everything being opt-in, if someone is using their Roku remote to pause content on the screen and there's a QR code front and center, I have to imagine that a consumer is going to take out their phone to understand what that QR code unlocks. And I think a QR code is a great first step into connecting, again, that multi-screen touch point. That said, I wouldn't say a QR code is truly a performance vehicle. I think it's a great consideration vehicle. I think it's great for consideration, but in terms of driving action, I'm just don't see it yet.
Yeah. For all the power of digital now being brought to television, it's amazing. The old meme was thousands of channels, nothing on. That is no longer the case. There is literally so much amazing content. It's a viewer's banquet. But the challenge of content discovery remains. What's Roku doing to kind of address that?
There are so many channels to choose from, so many pieces of content. I can definitely resonate with the paradox of choice. It's hard. And Roku, for example, I mean, that's part of the reason we launched the Roku brand studio. So one of our first projects that we worked on was called Roku Recommends. It's a weekly show that we developed in partnership with our Roku Originals editorial team. And the whole reason that this show was born is because we saw an insight from our first party data, but also through Nielsen, that over 50% of our streamers were having a hard time choosing what to watch. And so why not solve that for them? And Roku Recommends on a weekly basis will tell them exactly the movies and the shows that they need to tune into that week. And so again, going back to the brains of digital and the beauty of TV, like we can solve a consumer need.
Yeah. The other thing, so Roku Recommends, it's really a foray into the content space. A year ago, Roku acquired the Quibi portfolio. And so that's catapulted Roku beyond platform into actual O&O, publisher. What's the future of that look like? I'm asking because we've got the new fronts coming right.
Oh yeah, I can't reveal.
You might have some news. Can you share any news?
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot here. No, I am going to save a lot of our secrets for the new fronts because it's super exciting. But what I can tell you is the Quibi acquisition was our first step into Roku original content. We took that content and rebranded it and Rokufied it, I'd like to say, into be Roku Originals. But we're not just stopping with that acquisition. I'm sure you've read a lot of press lately that we are doubling down on original content. So some of the original Quibi shows that you saw will have a season 2 produced specifically by Roku. And again, it's not just that content alone. we are looking to expand our portfolio of content that you can only get on the Roku channel. And I would say short form content, yes, Quibi was made, for the commuter and for, the person to see on their mobile device. But it doesn't always mean that that content is going to remain like that. You're just going to have to stay tuned and see what we reveal at the new fronts.
All right. Yes. Stay tuned. May 2nd through 5th. Coming right up. I want to go back to the opportunity that brands and buyers have. And, here at IAB, we're working on a project that's going to make it easier for buyers and sellers to come to the table with a shared understanding of what it takes to execute on CTV. I'd love to know, you've seen a lot of conversations, you're talking to a lot of brands. What are the top 3 things that you would like to see, the buy side come to the table with understanding, here's the opportunity, but here's also what you want to get in front of before the campaign runs?
Okay. So in terms of what I would like to see, moving forward, if I had to choose 3 things for the buying and the selling side, number 1, we should be able to have a better understanding of what the creative platform is for our brands before the media buying. That's just going to help us make sure that the creative matches the content. Everyone says content is key, and I agree, or king, excuse me, and I agree with that. But why would we have a medium that's so powerful if the creative's not going to match it? So number 1, I actually think we need to start looking at the creative first and then determining where it should run. Number 2, we as a platform, as a partner, need to have a very clear understanding of the business challenge that we are trying to solve for our partners. Is it visitation? Is it app downloads? Is it conversion? What is it? Because again, if we don't have a clear understanding of that, we aren't going to recommend the most strategic opportunities for our partners. And then it's not going to look pretty at the end when we go to measure the campaign. And so just those 2 things off the top of my head are really, really powerful, I believe, in setting campaigns up for success and just the partnership as a whole. And third, this is the creative side of me, but don't be scared to test something new, even if there's not proven success in terms of testing an ad format or trying branded content for a lower funnel KPI. Let's test it. The industry is evolving every single day. Why not try something new and pave the way for, like-minded advertisers in your category?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we hear, the disconnect that happens in the creative brief, right? It's like, what KPI are we talking about here? Things like viewability in the big screen. It's kind of, that sort of becomes an opportunity for people to come together with that understanding. So hopefully we'll see a day when there's better alignment, right? What's the opportunity that you see for creative agencies, right? Because they play a really critical role in all this.
They do. And obviously they are some of the masterminds behind the hero spots that we see today. I think creative agencies can also start to challenge their partners or their clients to not just produce one very premium, expensive spot. Start having more connectivity to the media of where the client is planning on spending. Because then it might help them inform and advise their clients on the type of creative assets they should be producing. I really believe it's not just our media partners that have to be consultants. The creative partners have to as well. And again, the only way that's going to work is if we all come together on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that simple tactic of, managing frequency remains it's a challenge. It's a complicated ecosystem and supply chain. And when we see the same ad again, even in the same, session or pod, the interesting lesson is it's so easily fixed. Create another variant, create a story, do a sequence, right?
Test and learn. Let's try sequential storytelling, and I really think there's an opportunity there. Again, just speaking, being on the brand studio, like we have the opportunity to create multiple assets to understand what resonates instead of just doing one spot. And let's cross our fingers and make sure we have the sweet spot for reach and frequency. Like let's test new assets.
Yeah. Yeah. Less hope and pray. It's not a strategy.
Not a strategy.
Well, this is fantastic. Thank you. We're looking forward to the Roku, what Roku reveals at the upcoming New Fronts. Rachel, best of luck with the brand studio, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Great conversation. I'll talk to you soon.
Same here. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm Eric John, and we'll see you at the next session.